This series began with a simple question. What do we owe each other? It's a question as old as humanity itself, but one that carries particular weight in the context of America's long and troubled history with race. Over the past few weeks, we've dug deep into that history, examining the legacy of slavery and its enduring impact on black communities today. We've grappled with the moral and ethical arguments for reparations, exploring the idea that true justice requires not just acknowledging past wrongs, but actively working to repair the damage. This journey has taken us from the halls of Congress to the streets of cities and towns across America, where activists and organizers are building a movement for change. Now, as we reach the end of this series, it's time to take stock. What have we learned? What are the key takeaways from this exploration of reparations? And how can we use this knowledge to move forward? The story of reparations is inextricably linked to the story of America itself. It's a story that begins with the horrors of chattel slavery, a system that brutally exploited millions of Africans for centuries, denying them their humanity and leaving an indelible stain on the nation's soul. But it's also a story of resilience, of Black Americans who, despite facing unimaginable adversity, built lives, families, and communities, contributing immeasurably to the fabric of this nation. The legacy of slavery didn't disappear with emancipation. It continued through Jim Crow, segregation, and the systemic racism that persists to this day. Reparations are about addressing the injustices of the present, investing in Black communities, closing the racial wealth gap, and ensuring that everyone has an equal opportunity to thrive. It's important to understand that reparations are about much more than just writing a check. True reparations require a fundamental shift in how we think about race, history, and justice in America. They demand a reckoning with the truth of our past, an unflinching examination of the ways in which white supremacy has shaped our laws, our institutions, and our very understanding of ourselves. Reparations are about healing, about acknowledging the pain and trauma that continue to reverberate through generations. Throughout this series, we've confronted a painful truth that often gets swept under the rug, the enduring legacy of slavery and systemic racism in America. It's easy to relegate these issues to history books, to see them as events of the past with no bearing on our present reality. But the reality is far more complex, far more intertwined with the very fabric of our nation. We've seen how the institution of slavery, with its brutal exploitation and dehumanization of Black people, created deep wounds that continue to fester generations later. These injustices didn't simply vanish with the stroke of a pen at the end of the Civil War. They morphed, adapted, and persisted, manifesting in Jim Crow laws, segregation, redlining, mass incarceration, and the countless subtle and overt forms of racism that Black Americans face to this day. Acknowledging this painful truth, however uncomfortable it may be, is the essential first step towards healing and progress. The concept of reparations, at its core, is about acknowledging a debt. Not a debt incurred by individuals alive today, but a debt owed by the nation itself for the centuries of exploitation and oppression inflicted upon Black Americans. This debt isn't some abstract moral concept, it's deeply rooted in the very foundations of our country's wealth and prosperity. Reparations are about balancing the scales, about acknowledging that the prosperity enjoyed by many Americans was built on the backs of those who were denied the fruits of their labor. While the economic aspect of reparations is crucial, it's essential to understand that true reparations encompass far more than just financial compensation. They necessitate a fundamental shift in our national consciousness, a willingness to confront the deeply ingrained systems of racism that continue to permeate our society. Reparations are about more than just righting past wrongs, they're about building a better future for all Americans. This requires investing in Black communities, closing the racial wealth gap, reforming our criminal justice system, and dismantling the structures that perpetuate systemic racism. The journey towards reparations is not a destination but an ongoing process of healing, growth, and transformation. It's a journey that requires courage, empathy, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. We've seen how reparations are not just about the past but about the future we want to build together, a future where the sins of our forefathers don't continue to haunt and hinder generations to come. This journey won't be easy. There will be resistance, pushback, and discomfort along the way. The fight for reparations is a fight for the soul of America, a fight to finally live up to the ideals of equality and justice upon which this nation was founded. The call for reparations is, at its heart, a call for moral reckoning. It's about confronting the uncomfortable truth that America's prosperity was built on a foundation of stolen labor, stolen lives, and stolen dreams. For centuries, Black Americans were denied the most basic human rights, treated as chattel, as property, as less than human. This legacy of dehumanization didn't simply vanish with the Emancipation Proclamation. Its echoes reverberate through generations, shaping the realities of Black communities to this day. The moral imperative for reparations goes beyond simply acknowledging past wrongs. It demands action, a tangible commitment to repairing the harm inflicted. It's about recognizing that true justice requires more than just equality under the law. It demands equity, a leveling of the playing field that has been tilted against Black Americans for far too long. The argument for reparations extends beyond the moral realm and into the very fabric of our economic system. The economic disparities we see today between Black and white Americans are not the result of happenstance or individual choices. They are the direct consequence of centuries of systemic discrimination, of policies designed to advantage one group at the expense of another. Reparations in this context are not about handouts or charity. They're about economic justice. Investing in Black communities, providing access to capital, and creating pathways to economic empowerment are not just morally right. They're essential for creating a more robust and equitable economy for all Americans. The wounds of slavery and systemic racism run deep, leaving scars that extend far beyond the economic realm. They manifest in the trauma, the distrust, the sense of alienation that continue to affect Black communities. Reparations at their core are about acknowledging this pain, about creating a space for healing and reconciliation. True reparations require more than just financial compensation. They demand a fundamental shift in how we as a nation talk about race, history, and justice. It is through this process, through the acknowledgement of pain and the pursuit of shared understanding, that we can begin to heal the deep divisions that continue to plague our nation. The fight for reparations is not just about righting past wrongs, it's about building a better future for all Americans. When we create a more just and equitable society for Black communities, the benefits extend far beyond any single group. Investing in Black communities means investing in our collective future. It means stronger economies, safer neighborhoods, and a more vibrant democracy. The pursuit of reparations is not about division, it's about unity. By working together to create a more just and equitable society, we unleash the full potential of our nation and create a brighter future for generations to come. We've journeyed through the history, the morality, the economics, and the very soul of the reparations movement. But knowledge without action is incomplete. Understanding the need for reparations is essential, but it's the act of getting involved, of raising our voices and lending our hands, that will transform this aspiration into reality. The fight for reparations isn't a spectator sport. It requires the active participation of all who believe in a just and equitable future. Each one of us possesses the power to make a difference, to contribute to the growing momentum of this movement. It's the collective power of countless individuals, each taking small but meaningful steps, that ultimately shifts the tide. Section 2, Channels for Change. The path to reparations is multifaceted, offering a range of avenues for engagement. Find methods that resonate with your skills, passions, and resources. Spread awareness and deepen understanding within your circles. Engage in thoughtful conversations with friends, family, and colleagues. Host a book club discussion or organize a film screening. Facilitate workshops on reparations. Contact your elected officials. Support reparations legislation like H.R. 40. Join or donate to organizations like NCOBRA or the Movement for Black Lives. These organizations rely on your support. Use your creativity to amplify the message of reparations. Organize community events for dialogue and reflection. The fight for reparations is not a sprint. It's a marathon that requires sustained effort and unwavering commitment. It's about weaving the pursuit of justice into the very fabric of our lives, making it an ongoing conversation, an integral part of who we are and what we stand for. Educate yourself continuously. Read books, articles, and academic journals that delve deeper into the history of reparations, the moral and economic arguments, and the various policy proposals being debated. Engage with diverse perspectives, challenge your own assumptions, and remain open to new information and evolving understandings. Support Black-owned businesses, organizations, and institutions. Economic empowerment is a crucial aspect of reparations, and directing your resources towards Black-owned enterprises is a tangible way to contribute to this goal. Most importantly, don't underestimate the power of simply talking about reparations, of keeping the conversation alive in your personal and professional circles. The more we normalize this discussion, the more we challenge the silence and denial that have allowed these injustices to persist for far too long. We've reached the final stage of this exploration, a space dedicated to reflection, dialogue, and the sharing of perspectives. Throughout this series, we've embarked on a journey together, delving into the complex history, the compelling moral arguments, and the multifaceted implications of reparations for Black Americans. We've grappled with challenging questions, confronted uncomfortable truths, and hopefully emerged with a deeper understanding of this crucial issue. But this exploration is far from over. In fact, it's just beginning. The true power of this conversation lies not just in the information shared, but in the reflections it sparks, the questions it raises, and the dialogues it ignites. Now it's your turn to share your thoughts, your insights, and your visions for a future where reparations are not just a concept, but a lived reality. What resonated most deeply with you throughout this series? Was it the historical context, the stories of those impacted by the legacy of slavery, the economic arguments, or the moral imperative for justice? What questions linger in your mind? What aspects of reparations do you feel require further exploration or clarification? The concept of reparations is often framed in terms of policy proposals, legislative battles, and economic models. While these are all essential components of the conversation, it's crucial to remember that at its heart, reparations are about people. They're about acknowledging the humanity of those who have been denied dignity, justice, and opportunity for far too long. They're about creating a future where everyone has the chance to thrive, regardless of the circumstances of their birth or the color of their skin. So, let's delve into the human aspect of this issue. Imagine a future where reparations have been implemented. What does that world look like to you? How has it transformed the lives of Black Americans? What shifts have occurred in our society as a whole? Don't hold back. Share your hopes, your dreams, your fears, and your doubts. This is a space for honest dialogue, for listening and learning from one another, for collectively envisioning a future where justice and equity prevail. Your voice matters. Your perspective is valuable. By sharing your thoughts and engaging in this conversation, you become part of a collective effort to create a more just and equitable world. As we conclude this exploration of reparations, it's essential to acknowledge that this conversation is far from over. It's a conversation that began generations ago, whispered in the hearts of those who endured the unimaginable horrors of slavery, and echoed by their descendants who continue to grapple with its enduring legacy. The road to reparations is long and winding, fraught with challenges and resistance. But amidst these challenges, we must never lose sight of the fundamental truth that underpins this movement. Reparations are not about revenge or retribution, they're about justice. They're about acknowledging the inherent humanity of those who have been systematically denied dignity, opportunity, and the chance to fully share in the promise of America. The pursuit of reparations is a call to action that demands our attention, energy, and commitment. It's a call to educate ourselves, challenge biases, and dismantle systems of oppression. If this series has ignited a spark within you, the next step is action. How will you contribute to this movement for justice? Will you lend your voice to the growing chorus demanding reparations? Imagine a future where reparations have been realized and racial inequality bridged. This is the future we must strive for, the vision that must guide our actions. The journey may be long, but the destination is worth fighting for. Let us move forward with courage, compassion, and commitment to a just world.